trying to install gas using plastic piping. And I started looking through like Gas Installer magazine, I started looking through the HSC press releases, and I noticed in that 80% of the gas prosecutions were people who we class them as rogue engineers. They've got no qualifications. They've got no right to be doing what they're doing, but they're doing it anyway. But it's all the same things, and I noticed that 80% of them were people fitting gas boilers that they have no right to fit.
Wow.
So
Sorry, go on.
So I said to them, why don't we bring in a law then that says if you don't have your gas safe card, you can't buy a boiler?
Yeah.
When did you last get it serviced? I've been in here 10 years, I've never had it serviced. And I went, it's done, it's not working. You know, you've killed this boiler. Yeah. And you sure? And I said, yes. And I said to him, well, would you drive your car for 10 years and never have it serviced? No, you wouldn't think twice to do that. And you use your boiler more than you use your car. There are ways to make it more affordable, but it's one of those ones, you know, would you rather have your MOT done for 50 quid and know it's been done properly, or would you rather get it done for 20 quid and be like, yeah, that wheel. I mean, Sean, his brother Davey, was on a site in Edinburgh back in 2021 and collapsed and passed away. And from there they found out that there was no defib on site, there was no defibrillator. And John, to his credit, raised 66,000 signatures for Parliament, for this to be discussed in Parliament. He wanted it raised in Parliament, he wanted it discussed, he basically just wanted defibs on site.
Yeah.
And because he didn't, you have to get the magic number of 100,000 signatures for it to be discussed in Parliament.
Join us for your weekly deep dive into the beating heart of UK construction. From groundbreaking projects to game-changing innovations, the UK Construction Podcast brings you face-to-face with the industry's brightest minds and boldest thinkers. Each episode features candid conversations with construction leaders, architects, engineers, and on-site experts who share their hard-won insights and behind-the-scenes perspectives. We cut through the noise to deliver actionable intelligence on market trends, emerging technologies, and the forces shaping British building.
So, welcome. Today we have plumber guru Jimmy Hendry. He's a former Plumber of the Year award winner in 2022, and he's a master of plumbing up in Scotland. That's right, he's Scottish. We can provide subtitles for you, it's not a problem. Jimmy, how are we doing, mate? Thanks for coming on.
I'm very well this morning. Thanks very much for the invite, Jimmy.
Good man. You've got a wonderful name, Jimmy, as well, by the way.
It's one of those ones. Many names, many kings have been named James as well. So you know, we come from a good background there.
Yeah, that's it. So before we delve into, well, we're going to put the world to rights today, aren't we? But before we do that, tell us more about who you are and why you're here.
I've done a few different bits in plumbing and around construction throughout my last 31 years in the trade, and I really came to prominence, I suppose, back in 2022 when 2021 I really started raising issues around the gas safety laws, and I've since found out that I'm not the only one who's raised these concerns, but they get blanked. They get blanked by industry. You get quite a lot of people saying you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do the next thing. And it got me the On the Tools Plumber of the Year 2022 when I did raise this. And I've won a few other awards and been nominated for a few as well for my stance on it. And we see it today. I mean, I was speaking to a friend recently who was in London for something, and he tried raising issues and they get swept under the carpet because I feel, and this is just my own feeling, I feel there's too much of the money side and the politics at play. People don't want to raise this because they're being funded by X, Y, and Z in the background, and I've since found out as well, they've got an agenda. I'm not saying that as a secret way. They've got certain things that they will deal with within a 12-month period. And if you're not on that list, they tend not to deal with it. Not unless you start throwing it right into their face, and then you'll perhaps get a response on it. But I mean, from the gas safety stuff, we then led on to other things such as the defibrillator units, which we'll talk about. And other people throw things your way and will say, oh, what about, have you thought about this and thought about that? And it can be your own personal observations as well. And when you start highlighting these things, especially on the likes of LinkedIn, you will get other professionals going, we know what you mean, we've seen this as well. And they will give you supporting pieces of evidence. And I think if you're bold enough to raise your head above the parapet, plenty other folk will also start throwing you that relevant information, which will only support your case. And yeah, it's taken off from there, really. I do a lot on fixed radio these days as well. I've just been asked again by On the Tools to judge the Heating Installer of the Year award, which will be the second year in a row that I have done that. It was myself that's done it last year, and I got a bit of support from Dan Tempest, another Plumber of the Year winner. He won in 2023. He stole my crown, as I like to say to him, but he doesn't take offence at that, hopefully. But no, it's trying to get the message out to everyone so that everyone will listen, sort of thing, or at least take note.
Sure, yeah, sure. So when you initially raised these issues, who did you raise them to and how?
I initially started, well, it's funny because I actually started initially just raising them. I mean, I noticed that, and the main one for me was I went into B&Q one day and just to grab a couple of bits, and there was a guy in front of me who was clearly installing his own gas cooker, and he had the gas hose, he had the bayonet connection which goes onto the wall, which the hose connects onto, he had a length of plastic pipe and a few plastic elbows. And my first thought was, where are you going with those? I didn't quite. My English wasn't quite as good as that. It was more like, but I only thought to myself, well, where are you going with those? Because you're trying to install gas using plastic piping.
Yeah.
And I started looking through like Gas Installer magazine. I started looking through the HSC press releases, and I noticed in that 80% of the gas prosecutions were people who we class them as rogue engineers. They've got no qualifications. They've got no right to be doing what they're doing, but they're doing it anyway, and they're being fined. And if you actually read through, the prosecuting agent is the HSE. The HSE oversee the gas safe register. So if you report anything, any gas faults, you'll report it through the RIDOR system at HSE, and they will then take you to court if they're lucky enough to get their day in court. But it's all the same things, and I noticed that 80% of them were people fitting gas boilers that they have no right to fit.
Wow.
So
sorry, go on.
So I said to them, why don't we bring in a law then that says if you don't have your gas safe card, you can't buy a boiler?
Yeah.
And the pushback I have had on that from the industry has been unbelievable. Don't get me wrong, I've got plenty friends, plenty colleagues. I mean, I'm a fellow at the Chartered Institute of Plumbing and Heating Engineers, and I've got one of my friends, Paul Hull, is a member of the Chartered Institute. He said, we tried to raise the same in 2018, and it got nowhere because it doesn't get the industry support. You have the Institute of Gas Engineers and Managers. You have Gas Safe Register. You've got the HSE. You've got the Association of Plumbing Heating Contractors, Chartered Institute of Plumbing Heating Engineers, and you've got the Scottish and Northern Ireland Plumbing Employment Federation. They all look after the interests of plumbers throughout the country, but not one of them have gotten together and went, let's deal with this. Now, before it was Gas Safe Registered, it was Corgi, the Council of Registered Gas Installers. And Corgi Technical Services, they still run many different gas courses. And give her due, Deborah Stevenson from Corgi Services got in touch with me only a few months ago and said, look, we like what you're doing. We would like to support you. We have tried to do this as well, but they've been kind of back-footed as well. And it's quite often the case that if you don't have industry recognition, then it will go nowhere.
Yeah, so is this because are they doing this because if it goes through, then you'll be limiting the market to only tradesmen, so that it'll be less money coming into the economy. Is that what it is, or what?
Well, I discussed this the other day on Fixed Radio, and that was one of the arguments that came up. But realistically, if you're fitting a gas boiler, you should be gas safe registered.
Yeah,
So regardless of, if say you want to buy a boiler here, Jimmy, right, and you go, I can get it cheaper than than I'm providing it.
yeah.
There's nothing stopping you going, right, I can get it cheaper. We'll go down together and we'll buy the boiler.
Yeah.
We go down together to buy the boiler. You say, oh, I'd like to buy this boiler. They say, have you got a gas safe card? This is my engineer. This is who's fitting it. Here is his gas safe card.
Yeah.
That way you're clearing it. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the likes of Intergas boilers, an Intergas boiler, and I say this because this is the boiler we tend to fit, you cannot register a guarantee with them unless you have a gas safe number.
Yeah.
So anyone can go in and fit that boiler, but if you want the 10-year, 12-year, whatever guarantee they provide, you have to provide them with a relevant gas safe number of the engineer who installed that and commissioned that boiler. But I was at Instantor in Dublin in September last year. They're a big fittings manufacturer. And someone there in the meeting, I can't remember who it was, had said that there's a statistic out there that says only 17% of domestic gas boilers are ever actually properly registered.
Right.
And I asked, I put a post on LinkedIn about a month ago now, asking boiler companies. I asked Valent, I asked Worcester Bosch, I asked Ideal, and I asked Intergas, how many of you, what percentage of your boilers that you sell do you actually get the paperwork back for with the registered guarantee, to register the guarantee? No one replied.
Crazy.
And someone said it's because they sell far more boilers than they ever actually get registered.
Yeah.
That's why they're happy. Or,
Yeah.
That's why I feel they're happy to
Yeah.
offer a 10-year, 12-year guarantee. Because when you've only got 20% of people coming back with the correct paperwork, a guarantee only works, especially on gas boilers, if you've fitted their filter. And in many cases it has to. If you're fitting like an Intergas boiler, they'll tell you to fit a specific kind of filter. They will tell you that your boiler has to be serviced every single year without fail. You need to have a record of that being done. There are many different things. If you don't have it, it'll knock 2 years off your guarantee or 3 years off your guarantee.
Is that law that getting your boiler service? Is it law?
No, it's not law. It's like getting your car serviced. And,
right.
and I often say to people, how often you get your boiler serviced, and someone will say, usually every 3 years, or oh God.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my friends said to me, I've not had my boiler serviced. He'd been in the house for 10 years and his boiler wasn't working. Yeah. And he said to me, my boiler's not working. And I said, I'll take a look at it. And when I took the front cover off, there was dead daddy long legs and spider webs, and any plumber will tell you that they come up on boilers like that all the time. Yeah. And I said to him, when did you last get it serviced? I've been in here 10 years, I've never had it serviced. And I went, it's done. It's not working. You've killed this boiler. Yeah. And you sure? And I said, yes. And I said to him, well, would you drive your car for 10 years and never have it serviced? No, you wouldn't think twice to do that. And you use your boiler more than you use your car. Yeah. You use it for your heating. Every time you turn on your hot tap, most people nowadays, I'm in a new house, it's 5 years old now, but it's a combi boiler.
Yeah.
Combi boilers, every time you turn on a hot tap, that boiler has to come on to provide you with hot water. Yeah. And there are so many people who don't actually realise that they're using their boiler as much as they are, and they don't think, and then it's only when it breaks, they we've got no heating, got no hot water, and it's like, maybe if you'd done a bit of maintenance on your boiler, you wouldn't be in this situation.
But not only that, it's a huge safety risk, isn't it?
Really? Oh, it's a massive safety risk. I mean, Lauren from ATAG, who are also supporting this campaign, they said that the other day. You've got the risks of carbon monoxide, which are massive. I mean, and people just don't take it seriously at all. And I mean, we're in a position where we have many people fitting gas boilers, and I get the kickback. I mean, I always see on LinkedIn, you get the masters of industry. You get everyone's a CEO, or everyone's a director, or the production manager, or a director of this, that, and the next thing. And you say to them, and they'll say, "Oh, you can do anything. You can do anything." And you go, "Right, okay. How about doing this? Oh, you can't do that. Don't you? Oh, no. Oh, no. And I often feel that, especially with professional bodies, I question if they are getting funded to a certain degree by these boiler companies. And it's, we want you, this is the agenda we want you to raise. We don't want you to raise this. We don't want you to even discuss this. And 2023, it's Gas Safety Week has just finished in the UK. And in 2023, I was asked to go on to Fix Radio and discuss this very subject. And Fix Radio also asked Gas Safe Register to come on and discuss the subject. But Gas Safe Register said they would decline the opportunity to discuss this publicly. And you think to yourself, that's Gas Safe Register, declining the opportunity to discuss gas safety in the run-up to Gas Safety Week. And you go, how can that be that Gas Safe Register don't want to discuss gas safety? And when I started raising it through and attaching the HAC things, because it's all the same one, it's either 3-1, which means that they're not competent. That means they haven't sat the proper qualification. Not qualified means they're not on the Gas Safe Register. And the other one is a 3-7 qualified. 3-7. I'll come in a minute. Restriction, which means they are pretending to be on the Gas Safe Register, which is an offence in itself. So you've got a 3-1 offence, a 3-3 offence, or a 3-7 offence. And if you actually look through the gas prosecutions on the HSE website, they're all 3-1, 3-3, or 3-7, which means they're not competent, they're not qualified, or they're just pretending to be Gas Safe registered. And there's nothing stopping anyone from going onto eBay and buying some Gas Safe stickers to put on their van, getting themselves a Gas Safe t-shirt and putting it on there as well, and going out and doing gas jobs until they get caught.
So this is a criminal offence, right?
Yeah, this is a criminal offence. And you tend to find that all that happens with them is if they get caught, they will get a suspended sentence. If they get caught again, they'll get another suspended sentence.
Yeah.
And you have multiple prosecutions where people have either had a prohibition notice put on their work, or they've been given another suspended sentence on top of what they already have, which is another suspended sentence. And you're going, how many? I was always of the opinion that if you got a suspended sentence and you were caught doing the same crime again, you were going to prison. But no, all they get is repeated suspended sentences. And sorry.
Yeah, so I'm assuming, the way I see it is as long as they don't commit a crime within the end of that suspended sentence. So if that gets spent, then it's restarts again, I suppose.
No, many of them are on suspended sentences that they're still serving for the same crime. And either that or they have a prohibition notice on their work which says don't do any more gas work until you are properly competent. In other words, you sat a course and then you're qualified because you've joined the Gas Safe Register. And they're continuing anyway. I mean, there was one guy caught a couple of years ago who hadn't sat a gas qualification since the 70s. And he was doing it. And as many people say, you tend to find they only get fined the cost of that job. So they lose that job. And I mean, if you're doing 2 boilers a week, you could be clearing in your hand, no bother, $4,000 a week in your hand.
Yeah.
So if you get fined, say you're doing that week in, week out, right? And we'll say generously you're doing, 5 boilers a month, right?
Yeah.
And you're getting $2,000 a boiler. If you get fined every 3 years, $5,000, you're going to be like, yeah. And as someone said to me the other day, it's a lot cheaper than having to go on the Gas Safe Register. It's a lot cheaper than having to upkeep your tools and upkeep, your gas analyzer and all your tools which have to be calibrated annually. It's just a case of there's the boiler, stick it on the wall, you've got heat and you've got hot water, see you later.
Do you know what? I had no idea that there are many people out there crazy enough to do this. So when you were saying about people buying boilers, I was thinking to myself, why do people actually want to buy boilers themselves? But this is obviously why they're doing it, and
Aye.
it's just mental that this is going on. That they're prepared to put people's lives at risk for making a quick buck.
I mean, it's people as well. People will try and get the cheaper option anytime they can. You know,
Yeah,
if I quote you for a boiler, right, and we'll say an average boiler costs £4,000, right?
yeah,
If you've got someone down the road who's doing boilers and they can do it for 2,500,
yeah,
who are you going to go with? The one at £4,000 or the one at 2,500? You know, many people will go, oh, we'll take the one at 2,500. And
yeah,
I mean, my friend quoted a boiler recently, and he says, "Oh, I didn't get the job." And the guy came back to me and says, "Oh, this other guy was £600 cheaper." And he went, "Right, okay, can I see the paperwork?" And he showed him the paperwork, and he said, "Yeah, the difference is I'm fitting an intergas boiler. Now, an intergas boiler, roughly about £1,200. He says, your mate here's fitting, we'll not name the boiler, but he says, you're fitting a boiler that costs, £600. He said, he's maybe getting it for 450, 500. So you're getting a far inferior boiler. You know, this guy's not even on the gas safe register, so he's not having to pay the same costs that I'm having to pay. So if you're not paying all those business rates, I mean, Alan Hart, the plumber online, had said it the other day, should we all be on a level playing field? Should we all be paying VAT? Because he's losing jobs to people who are not VAT registered, because he's having to add on that 20% to the cost of his job. And he said, if we were all paying VAT, it would be a level playing field. But I'm losing jobs to guys who are either doing it for cash or they're not paying the VAT on their thing. And that's what it comes down to. But one of the things that I never took on board, I had a friend who passed away a couple of years ago. He was a gas safety expert. And he said to me, but until he said it, I hadn't really taken it on board, but he said, it isn't just the responsibility of the engineer to ensure that they're gas safe registered. It is also the responsibility of the householder to check that they are actually gas safe registered. Because when you get your card, it will have your name, it will have your qualifications on it. But when you get it, it's not just a case of looking at it and going, oh, Jimmy Webb, oh, he's gas safe registered, he can crack on. You have to turn the card round and it actually tells you what they're qualified to do. So you maybe find that they've got, we'll say CENWAT, which is central heating water, so they can do boilers, but they don't have fires. And you might say to them, all right, can you do my boiler? Right? Oh, while you're here, can you service my gas fire? They might service your gas fire, and it might come to light later on that they never had that qualification to do that part of the work. And as was pointed out to me, it's a bit like looking at the back of a driving licence. You don't just take the driving licence and go, oh, they can drive everything. You look at the back of the driving licence and go, oh, he doesn't have a motorbike licence. He's only got a car licence. So, when that came about, the HSE had actually tried to prosecute someone, and they'd gone to my friend Tony, and Tony had come back to the HSE and said, you cannot prosecute this guy, because yes, you're correct in that he wasn't qualified, but it's a dual responsibility. They say the responsible person, meaning the householder, landlord, whatever. It's up to them to actually check that what they're being told is correct. And you can do that. That's a 2-minute check on the gas safe website. So they give you the card, you go on the gas safe website, you input their details. If their picture doesn't come up for any reason, there is clearly a problem. And that's when you go to them. You can't do that, because you're not qualified,
But is Joe Public educated enough on that?
No, that is a big thing. They are not educated enough. And gas safe will tell you things like, last year they'd said, trust the mark, trust the gas. If someone's got a gas safe t-shirt on, they're fine. And you go, well, no, they're not, because as I've already said, and as I've already proved through eBay, I can go on and buy a t-shirt that says gas safe registered. I can buy stickers which say gas safe registered. It's not just a case that, if someone says they're gas safe registered, you believe them. This is
the thing. I mean, what if you get like 83-year-old Dorothy that's got this guy in, and like she hasn't got a clue what she's looking at. She don't know how to check people. She hasn't got internet. How is she going to know? How do you educate these people?
I think that comes down to the Gas Safe Register and the HSE and, you know, professional bodies. I mean, I've got one professional body on the line there, the Chartered Institute of Plumbing Heating Engineers. That's down to publications in normal newspapers and stuff, educating people. You need to educate people because people don't know. And I mean, it's the same with the water regulations. Water regulations in England, Scottish water bylaws, they're the same document pretty much, but they put a dual responsibility on. So if I come along to your house and I fit a shower, say for instance, there's a little ring on the shower which holds the hose in place. You might have seen it. It's a hose retention clip, it's called. The purpose of that is so that the shower head doesn't fall into the bath.
Yeah.
And suck, you know, if you might get a problem where it might, you know, suck water back in through the system. So you've got soapy water getting sucked back in through that shower head hose. Yeah. So the dual responsibility on that falls to the householder and the plumber. So you might come along to a job, do that, and I often do it. I'll fit the hose retention clip, and the householder will come along. I'll take that off because I like to take the shower head and give myself a good going over with it. I can't do that because that clip's on there.
Yeah,
that's up to you. But then the responsibility is yours if anything goes wrong. If you poison anyone, if anything goes wrong, that's covered. And it's the same with gas. But you don't tend to get the HSE will go, oh, how are people supposed to know about that? They're not, and you need to educate them so that they do know about that sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it needs to be broadly broadcasted on the TV, if anything.
TV, newspapers, magazines. I mean, I'm on reels all the time on my phone. Start sticking it on reels.
Yeah.
Start educating people. But I mean, we get told that the HSE do not have enough bodies. The only reason the HSE do not have enough bodies is because they're too busy prosecuting people on repeat offences. And I mean, Charles Brooks is a solicitor, a lawyer, and he's the master at the Worshipful Company of Plumbers in London, which I'm a part of. And I highlight Charles in all these things as well because it's a waste of court time. And we talk quite often about, you know, the courts have got a big backlog at the courts because of COVID and a big backlog at the courts. And I'm saying, but how many of these cases are repeat offenders doing the same thing time and again? And that part never gets discussed. And I did try to raise that with the HSE as well. I said, well, you know, you're wasting time with people, but how many times have you already prosecuted that same person for that same offence?
Yeah.
And you never look at that, you know.
So what do you do now then? I mean, how do you lobby it now if they're not listening?
Well, I mean, I had tried 2021 till about 2023, and I won, as I say, I won the On the Tools Plumber of the Year for highlighting that amongst other things, defense being another one. And, you know, we got to a stage with it. I'd raised it with my MP, and my MP started raising questions in Parliament. At that point, it was a Conservative party that were in power. And my MP is an SNP, Scottish National Party MP. And whenever he raised questions, they just get, we're not dealing with that. We're not dealing with that. The laws we have in are sufficient, but they're not, and we've proven that. But it gets ignored. And I had raised it to the point where I got what's classed as an early demotion in Parliament, which means it has been officially recognised by Parliament that this is an issue.
Yeah.
But that was as far as it got. And then we had a change in government, everything died away. And I mean, I've been shortlisted for another 2 awards. The Heating and Plumbing Monthly magazine, they had nominated me for an award, which I didn't win. Nice to be nominated. And so did Corgi at the ASCP Awards. Again, I didn't win, but nice to be nominated. And it had kind of died a death. I raise it sporadically on LinkedIn and on Facebook. But I was at the installer show at the NEC in Birmingham at the end of June, and I walked past a couple of girls, and I said to them, "What's on your T-shirt?" And I had, we're trying to bring in, you know, if you're not qualified, you can't buy gas parts. And I said, who do you work for? And they said, we work for ATAG, the boiler company. And I said, great, because I knew that ATAG they don't sell any boilers to anyone who cannot fit them. And, you know, anyone who's not on the gas safe register can't buy the parts for the boilers, and they can't buy their boilers, not from ATAG anyway.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, great, I'll catch up with you in the morning. This was like Tuesday morning. Tuesday night. So Wednesday morning, I went around and spoke to them. And yeah, they're trying big to try and get this in as well. And I mean, I raised this issue with Global on their stand at Installer Magazine. I said, at Installer Show. And I said to them, why can anyone buy your boilers? And they said, we don't sell our boilers to anyone. We don't sell our boilers to the public. We sell our boilers to the merchants. The merchants then sell it to the public. So if you have an issue, you should go back to the merchants and say to the merchants, why are you selling boilers to the public? Because it's not down to us as boiler manufacturers. And I just thought, I could see that sliding off their shoulder and falling away. Because I just thought to myself, that I honestly couldn't believe that was the response I got from a national boiler manufacturer. And it was repeated on LinkedIn to the point where I thought it was almost word perfect, the response that I got from the individual on the Global stand as to the response I then got when I raised it officially on LinkedIn with Global. They said, we don't sell boilers to the public, we sell them to boiler man. We sell them to merchants, builders merchants, plumbers merchants. They then sell them to the public. So it's them that you need to go knocking on the door of.
Isn't it? So I'd like to move on from this, but first...
No, you go.
But first, go back to the gas safety, like the services and safety checks and that. How can we make those more affordable for people so that they get them done regularly?
I mean, the issue you have at the moment, it depends on several parts. It depends on the kind of how in depth they're going to go with their service. I mean, I've seen some services which I called a company out recently on who were offering to do services for £23 a service, which is, you know, given it should take about an hour to do a service.
Yeah.
How they can do that for £23 when you're providing your own tool, your own vans, I have a friend who does services, he's £70. I've got another friend who charges £120 for a service. They all do different things in the service. There's no set list of these things need to be gone through. You know, a lot of people just go in these days, they've got a gas analyzer, they'll put the gas analyzer on the flue. If they're getting the correct readings, that's them going, that's I've serviced your boiler.
Yeah.
Other people will replace the seals, will replace. I've got a friend who makes sure everything's done that should be done on that particular thing. He'll check anodes, he'll check, he will check various different things. And you go, oh, you know, my other friend doesn't go in anywhere near that kind of thing. But it comes down to cost, because not only are you on the gas, you've got to join the gas safe register, you've got to get yourself qualified. So say your tickets will cost you £1,200 every 5 years to do. Every year after that, you've got to sign up to gas safe register. You've then got to make sure you've got the correct public liability. You've then got to make sure your gas analyzers are serviced every year. Your gas measuring tools, like your manometers, things like that, are all working fine. You can make it more affordable. I would say it's a case of shopping around, but a lot of people, once they get a gas service engineer who's going to come around every year and do that, they're quite happy to stick with him. So there are ways to make it more affordable, but it's one of those ones, you know, would you rather have your MOT done for 50 quid and know it's been done properly, or would you rather get it done for 20 quid and be like, yeah, that wheel still doesn't look right, you know? So it is difficult, don't get me wrong, and things are expensive, but I mean, I think that's the way of the world these days.
Yes. I'm afraid my old man was one of those. He was quite frugal, and he hadn't had anything checked for years and years and years. And then probably about 10 years ago, he said, "Well, I've had this guy around. He had these wall-mounted gas heaters, like the fire things, like the 3-bar things." So they said to him, "Right, you know, these are like releasing so much carbon monoxide. I'm gonna have to condemn them." He said, "Right, rip them out, So they checked his cooker. He said the same thing. I'm going to have to condemn this, So they said, right, rip it out. He's got no central heating at home. So he ended up, he still hasn't bought a cooker and he still hasn't put any central heating in. So for 10, 15 years now, it's just been microwave meals and this other bloody gas heater thing in the lounge. I'm like, Dad, come on, man. But that's the kind of people that you're dealing with.
Oh, I mean, and it's like you say, it's educating the public as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it comes down to certain things, and I mean, it can be. I mean, especially in London, you have got such a mix of like different cultures, different, and I mean, I was in one family's house, and they're Indian, and they cook on one big pot.
Yeah.
And what they've got the 4 gas rings going on that one big pot.
Yeah.
And it's completely starving the gas. If you one ring for one pot is how it should be. They've got one big massive pot with the 4 rings going underneath it. And there's black soot and everything coming up the side, and you're going, you can't do that. And I mean, my gran used to do this as well. She would take the gas rings off and she would line tinfoil. She would put tinfoil on the bottom, build everything back together again. It's like you're starving that of the vital oxygen it needs, so it's not going to work properly. And it can be trying to educate, especially the elderly. I mean, as an example, one of my friends moved into a house in Leeds and Batley, probably about 15 years ago now anyway. And I got there and she says, it's absolutely freezing in the house. Can you turn the central heating on? Can't find the boiler anywhere. And I went, right, okay. So I had to walk around the house. And I went back and I went, you don't have central heating. What do you mean? And my other friend went, don't be stupid. Oh, well, there's no radiators. It's like, you don't have central heating. Because I went into the basement and you could see the pipe coming off the gas.
Yeah.
It came off the gas meter. It went along and up to the gas cooker, and it went around and up to the gas fire. All you've got is a cooker and a fire.
Yeah. Mad.
And to this day, I don't know if she ever bothered getting central heating put in our house. But she's like, it's freezing in here. And it's like, put some central heating in there, But
yeah, I know, it's crazy. This is the thing, but it causes mold, doesn't it? Damp around the house and all that sort of stuff. You know what I mean?
Various issues that folk just don't seem to really think about. I mean, I grew up in a house with condensation on the windows in the winter time.
Yeah,
and it was just normal.
Same. Right, let's talk about.
A quick word from our sponsor, Web Motion Media.
Are you ready to transform your online presence? At Web Motion Media, we're not just another digital agency, we're your partner in digital success. Our expert team delivers results-driven SEO that puts you at the top of search rankings, stunning web designs that convert visitors into customers, and data-backed PPC campaigns that maximize your ROI. Plus, our conversion rate optimization ensures every visitor counts. Don't just take our word for it. Our clients see an average of 40% increase in online revenue within the first 6 months. Ready to elevate your digital game? Visit our website from the links below this video, or call us today for a free consultation, and let's turn your digital dreams into reality.
Defibs.
Defibs. Right, my mate John, his brother Davey, was on a site in Edinburgh back in 2021 and collapsed and passed away. And from there, they found out that there was no defib on site. There was no defibrillator. And John, to his credit, raised 66,000 signatures for Parliament, for this to be discussed in Parliament. He wanted it raised in Parliament. He wanted it discussed. He just wanted defibs on site.
Yeah.
And because you have to get the magic number of 100,000 signatures for it to be discussed in Parliament. It didn't get that. And I said to John, well, why don't you just start getting in contact with people? And he went, well, what do you mean? Well, I've got contacts, various plumbing magazines. Start highlighting it with different people saying, what are you doing? And that's it. A lot of people don't like to be named on LinkedIn. They're happy for their company to be named, but they're not happy for you to raise anything which might seem negative.
Yeah.
And it's one of those ones that, you will start getting a kickback. If you mention somebody in a negative light and point out what they aren't doing, it's not always taken well, shall we
But
say.
you've been doing that, haven't you?
Oh, I do that all the time. Yeah, I will name and shame quite happily.
Yeah.
And I actually got in touch with a few folk, and I said to, we've got Morrison's, Galliford Try down here, major builder, worldwide. And I said to Alistair Gill, who's their head of health and safety, I said, what do you do in this regard? And Alistair said, well, what we do is we provide a defib in every site office. He says, and quite often at the end of the job, we will donate that defib unit to the job. And I said, oh, brilliant, great. I wonder if anybody else does that. Very seldom will you find that people actually do so. And it's like I say, I think life is cheap on a building site. And I mean, I think was it last year's, I know there was a reduction this year, but last year there was like 51 deaths on construction sites in the UK, and it was more than double the next kind of fatality rate. I think it was farming and fisheries was the next one. And you're going, how can it be that you have got such, you've got over double that, and it's, you've got people in a high stress environment. You quite often get people who are hungover from the night before.
Yep.
You've got people who think Christmas has come early, shall we say.
Yeah, I mean, also you've got a canteen that is offering fried food and stuff every day.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's not going to be good for your heart, is it?
No, exactly. I mean, there's nothing like that, So I got in touch, as I say, with Morrison / Galliford Try. They were on the ball. I then looked at FES, Forth Electrical Services, who are a major UK company now as well. And I actually served my apprenticeship alongside another company who came up through the ranks with FES. So I know a few of the people who work in FES, and they put up something about apprenticeships and safety. And on their safety, they had a high-vis vest, they had, safety shoes, a hard hat, gloves. And I said, what are you doing about defib units? And I never got a reply. So they put a post up again about it a couple of weeks later, and I asked the same question. And I then received an email from a girl in the FES offices in Stirling, up in Scotland, and she said, can you call Jason Cross? And Jason's a director at FES. So I called him, and Jason's a very nice guy. I'd never met him at that point. Many of my friends work with him. But Jason had basically said, in a nice way, what's your problem? And I said, my problem is, Jason, that I have a friend whose brother died on a site because there was no defib. Now, I'm not saying the defib would have saved him, but it might have given him a better, defibs don't save people. They only they will give them a better chance of surviving, shall we say. And I said, so I would like to see a major company such as FES providing defib units. And Jason went into a bit of the background on it. He said, it's not really something I've considered too much. I can see your point. He said, my issue is we are subcontractors quite a lot of the time. So you'll have a main contractor such as Galliford Try, who will have a defib unit on site. So we don't always provide them. But he said, leave it with me. I'll have a discussion with other directors, with the managing director, etc., etc. The managing director that works for the company, Duncan Fletcher. Duncan, it's his family's business. Great guy. He will do anything to help you out. And give them their due. I would say less than 2 weeks later, they put up a post. We have started providing defib units in various areas. And it's like he said, we can't provide them on every single site, but we can provide our site agents with them. We can provide various other people with them so that, it's not our sole responsibility, but we are taking responsibility of this, and we are taking ownership of this problem as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant, perfect. We didn't have to raise 100,000 signatures. Yeah. We started highlighting it, and it's another problem which I didn't really see, but when you're looking at, again, HSE reports, things like that, the HS2 site, the new rail link that was supposed to be going from London all the way up to Manchester or Leeds is only going to Birmingham now, something like that. They've had at least 2 fatalities, 2 heart attacks. And you think, where were the defibs? Because they are never mentioned in any of that stuff. Never once are they mentioned. And you just look at it and go, did you just not provide defib units? How many heart attacks do you need on your sites before you start providing defib units? And how often? And I mean, I will ask anyone at any construction site to go into their office on Monday morning and say, do you have a defib unit? Why don't you have a defib unit? If you don't have one, why don't you have one? Because I'm working with a guy who's in his late 60s who isn't in the best of health. If he has a heart attack, I want to know that there is a defib unit there.
But it's not just that, though. It's providing the right training as well.
It is, but I mean, with defib units, and I learned this in the fire service, most defib units, when you open up, there's instructions. It will speak to you. You know, and it'll say to you, follow step number 1, put the pad here and here. Now you've got the pads on, do this, do that, stand back. And because a defib unit, it's not just an electric shock unit, it's actually monitoring what's happening in the body. So if it's picking something up, which say the heart's in a funny rhythm, it will then administer it. Poof, right, how are we doing now? Stand back, right. And then it'll say things like, because they don't work alone. Once you put them on, it might say to you, start chest compressions. So you start chest compressions, it'll say stand back, monitoring, administering, bang. Or it'll say, right, monitored, continue chest compressions. You know, it is self-evident, self-instructing. And it's like Morrison's and Galliford tries to as well. Once you put that onto the site, call 999 and you register, or you call the number. There's a number you can call where you register it. So say I've got one in the house here and someone across the street has a heart attack and you call 999, they'll say, oh, if you go to Jimmy's house, Jimmy's got a defib unit in his house. Great, go round, get the defib unit. That's the small changes. And there's actually a website where you can actually look on and it'll show you where all the defib units are in your location as well. Little things like that. You know, you want everyone to get home from work at the end of the day.
Absolutely. It's a big thing for me. Being a tower crane operator, I mean, I've been advocating for tower crane rescue because that's not always done properly or planned properly or implemented properly. And one of the things on there would be to have a defib up the tower crane because there's never one up there. So you could argue that if you have, because we've had a guy recently, tragically died of a heart attack, one of our guys. So if you're having a heart attack up the crane and you're 100 meters in the air, it's likely no one's going to get to you on time. But like you say, it is a need to possibly help you to survive if it does arise, you know. So why aren't there defibs up every crane? What's it down to? Is it down to money? Is it down to the site to provide? Is it down to the crane hire company to provide?
Well, I mean, as Galliford Try said, if you've got a job that's 40 million, say for instance, does it really cost you that much out of your profits for a defib unit? Which, I mean, I'm sure someone said you can pick up a defib unit if you're buying it. If you're a bigger company such as they are and you're buying it, you can pick up for 700 or 800 quid. You know,
it's nothing, is it really?
It's nothing when you think of the bad press that it could generate if you don't have one. And they say, oh, there was a death on that £40 million site, but they didn't have a £600 or £700 defib unit on the site. You know, that's.
And when you think, I mean, I've been on these jobs where the companies, they've got their company card and they're going out for these team building drinks and meals and stuff like that of a weekend or of an evening. I've walked past and I've seen them all out, or they're all meals and all that sort of stuff. And we've gone in the office and they're fighting us for like half an hour on the timesheet and things like that. And you know, so you've got to get your priorities right, really, haven't you?
There is a big scale of that. I mean, I was out on a works night out a few years ago, one of my friends, and they were spending £240 a round. And you're going,
you know what I mean?
You know, couple of rounds and you've got a defib unit to save someone.
Exactly that. Okay, so let's get on to drugs and alcohol now.
Well, I mean, that links on to it as well. Drugs and alcohol. I worked on a site and actually wrote a piece for Alcohol Change UK. If you type into your local search bar Jimmy Hendry, Alcohol Change UK. It'll come up experience of a plumber. And I raised this because I was working on a building site and I was put in charge of health, safety and productivity. And they said, oh, the productivity is not very high on this site. And I said, well, 20% of your guys are in the pub. Well, what do you mean? I said, well, everyone signs in the morning, but you've got a large back gate and 20% of your workforce walk back out that back gate, they get in their cars and they go down to the pub for the day. And either their friend signs them out at the end of the day, or they come back at the end of the day and sign themselves out. And the site's so big, do you know what I mean? It's like, no one's looking for you. The site's too big for anyone to find you. Yeah. And I mean, one of my friends said at one point, he said, you walk in, we were on a massive job years ago. And he said, you ever see that film, I Am Legend, with Will Smith? He says, all the zombies hide away in rooms. He said, that's like apprentices on big jobs. You walk into a room and there's like 15 of them all huddled around on their phone and they look at you and all you get is this glare off their phone and then you just walk away again. And I mean, I was on a job, it was massive. You were getting that happening and you were also, because it was so big a job, we were only working 4 days. So we were doing a 12-hour shift, 7 to 7 Monday to Thursday. But on a Friday, you came in from 7:30 in the morning till 9:30 in the morning. So that to the main contractor, you could say, well, we've had 50 guys on site Monday through to Friday. But in reality, Friday, everyone went away home at 9:30 in the morning. And you were getting folk who were going out Thursday night and getting absolutely bladdered. And they're maybe 100, 150 miles from home. So they're staying in digs. But they'd come in hungover in the morning and they'd find somewhere to sleep on the site for 2 hours, get back in their car, and they'd drive that 2-3 hour journey back home to wherever they were going. And I raised it at a meeting. I said, well, what you've got is, we were paying these guys till 1 o'clock to get home. I said, what you've got is you've got guys who are drunk at work. You have got guys who are drink driving at work, because technically speaking, they're still working because we're paying them till 1 o'clock. Oh, you can't look at it like that. You can't look at it like that. I mean, that's exactly what it is, though. That is exactly what it is. And, oh God, you know, it was, you know, stop raising this stuff, because, you know, you're shining a light on it, and it's like, but it's true. And I mean, I don't begrudge anyone a drink. I really don't. And the problem you get is you've got people away from home, so they're working 7 till 7. They're going back to their digs. They'll get a shower. They'll go down to the local Wetherspoons because they can get a cheap pint and they can get a cheap meal, and then that's it. But then you were getting to such an extent whereby, you know, you had so many people either coming in drunk the next day or whatever else they were on. And when I raised it, I thought it's something that would be looked at. But again, if you look through the HSE stats, death stats, not one ever mentions drugs or alcohol. They were struck by a moving vehicle. It was a slip, trip or fall. You know, it was a fall from height. It wasn't a fall from height because he was pissed from the night before. It's not he tripped off the scaffold because he was still hungover from the night before. You know, it wasn't he was drink driving in that JCB in the morning and that's why he killed someone. That's what it's put down to. It's never, the root cause is never established. And when I raised it officially through the HSE, I wrote something, and my friend is a guy called Callum McIntosh, who is the president of the Scottish Plant Operators Association. Callum says, I have been raising this for years. And when I raised it on Fixed Radio, Callum got directly in touch with me and he went, you're in Inverness and I'm in Inverness. Let's meet up and discuss this. And I said, yeah, fine. So we did. Great guy, got on fine with him. But there's another guy on LinkedIn called Mick Norton, BEM. He's got a British Empire medal. Mick has been raising this for years as well. The fact that, you know, what Callum wanted to bring in with the Scottish Plant Operators Association was a system, you know, whereby if you test in the morning and you're found to be over the limit, they say to you, take the day off, you're not getting paid, take the day off, come back tomorrow, we'll test you again. If you're fine, you can get on the machine. Randomly. And he was met with silence by many plant operators because they know the extent of the problem. They know they've got guys working on construction sites far from home with nothing else to do at night. And Callum says it died a death. And he said, I thought in my position as president of the Plant Operators Association, I would get that through quite easily. But he said the resistance the resistance I met within my own body was unbelievable.
That's strange. I mean, why is that for so many people to be lobbying it for so many years and they're not doing it? Why is that?
I think if you took I mean, we have a skill shortage, which everyone acknowledges. And I think if you looked at the true extent of the issue, you could probably reduce your site by, I would say, easily 40%.
I would say so. Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I don't know what it's like on tower cranes. I don't know if you have to get tested before you go up the tower crane in the morning, or whether it's just, he'll be fine. But I mean, certainly, if you look at machines nowadays, they've got, I believe, and you can probably correct me on this, you've got the two lights. You've got the one light to say it's operating, and you've got the green light, which says, I think, is it the seatbelt's done and safety things are done. But there's nowhere saying, let's test these people. And I mean, I've got plenty colleagues, Matt Taylor, Lynn Donaldson, all on LinkedIn, who will provide you with a professional testing service.
Yeah.
But people don't want people getting tested. They really don't, because they acknowledge the extent of the situation.
Well, I think you're right, and I think it's not just down to the plant ops and the labourers and stuff. I think that's in the management as well, because I've known of site like project management in the pub saying to people, want to come in for a cheeky line in the toilet and things like that, or going out for work drinks and then going back in the next day. So there is a bit of a culture of it. There is.
Oh, aye. I mean, it's one of those ones. If you've been a joiner and you suddenly become a site agent, if you've got a snow habit up your nose, you're not going to lose that because you got the chain. Yeah. And when you raise it with health and safety officials, they tend to turn a blind eye to it. And I said, well, that's because they're getting £80,000 a year on a company car.
Yeah.
To make sure you've got your hard hat on and your high vis vest. They don't want to dig any deeper than that. They want to make sure you've not got I mean, that was another thing that came up when I was looking after the health and safety side of stuff. I started actually checking the CSCS cards, and I found at that point that like a third of them were out of date.
Right.
But you go into a site office to do your induction, and everyone's been in this situation if you've been on site. You go in and you do your induction. It takes maybe half a day. The first real induction I did, I was put into a room with, no offence to anyone, a group of Eastern Europeans. None of them could speak a word of English. The site agent, or one of the site agents, there's a few on that job, puts on a video and leaves.
Yeah.
Everyone's driven 100+ miles to get to that site, so they all go to sleep because they're all tired. They all left at 4 a.m. to get up there for 7. They'll fall asleep, they play on their phones, they do whatever.
Yeah.
At the end of the video, the site agent comes back in, that's the video finished, give me your CSCS cards, you'll take a copy of them, and you're off, you're good to go, on site. And he's never actually checked the CSCS cards. All he's done is put all the CSCS cards onto the photocopier, taken a photocopy of them, taken them for that day, that's him, he's cleared. But he's never actually run any proper checks on any of these things. And all these guys who can't speak a word of English have just watched a safety video in English, and off they go onto the site to do whatever they're going to do.
Yeah.
And it's a problem. I mean, when I started raising the drink especially, that I'd read a report that it was like the folk most likely to be caught by the police for drink driving, and they were all off a construction site, and plumbers were the worst. I mean, we plumbers were the worst. It was like,
mate, honestly, it is the amount of times I finish my shift and the lads say, do you want to go for a beer after? I'm like, first of all, I've been spending all day with you bastards. I don't want to spend my evening with you as well. And secondly, no, I don't drink on a school night anyway. So yeah, but that is the way it is. But coincidentally, my next guest has a company that provides testing, but also trying to get rid of the zero tolerance sort of mindset. Whereas whereby people who are drinking, there's obviously not all the time. Some people just like the odd drink and that every now and again, but there's usually a core to it. There's usually a reason to it. So what they're doing is they're promoting companies or trying to get companies to put them through this program, put the people onto a course where that that maybe they don't do this stuff so much of an evening, and they can understand the repercussions from it and all that sort of stuff. So I do think that needs to be implemented as well. And I agree with what you said about maybe saying to the people, go away. And I've seen it myself on job. One of the slingers, I was up the crane and he come through the gate and they said to him, they smelt his breath and they said, mate, you're going to have to go home. You can't work here today. Come back tomorrow. You're just going to have to go home for the day. So that was fine. He come back the next day and it was fine. And that's good. Rather than saying to people, sorry, got to fuck you off now. You're off site now. Game over. What they're going to do, they're going to go and drink themselves into oblivion because they're depressed and whatever.
Or they go and get a job on the side down the road and cause another accident.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So it's a vicious cycle.
But I mean, I've been raising this again probably for the last, I would say, at least 7 or 8 years. And it's you look at things like that and you go, there are, I mean, quite often I've raised subjects on LinkedIn, and it's like I'd said to you before, you raise these subjects on LinkedIn and other people start looking at them. And I mean, one of the big things I've been raising recently, and I'm starting to get responses from global responses to this one, is the fact that, I mean, I'm moving subjects here, but it's the water situation. We're in a situation they reckon by 2055, England will have a 5 billion litre per day shortfall in its water requirements. And in Scotland, we're suffering the same. We've just had the driest summer on record, which was drier than the one before that, and we're in a situation at the moment with our water situation where we waste. I mean, every family in the UK wastes 144 litres of water per day, flushing it down the toilet. And we have got into a situation where we think this is acceptable, that we bring in we bring this water in, we treat it. I mean, England especially. I lived in Suffolk for a year, and we got charged horrendous amounts for our water, and it's metered. It's not metered in Scotland, and you pay in Scotland you pay a council tax bill which includes your water and sewage. Here in Scotland, in England, you paid your council tax. You paid a separate water and sewage bill, because it's a precious commodity. But when you look at it, you're bringing in freshly treated water to flush it straight down the toilet. And I started raising this and saying, well, we're heading for a position whereby I'd read a report from the James Hutton Institute, which is a big scientific place in Dundee, which said by 2050, 50% of Scots will know of summer drought conditions. They'll have experience of it. In other words, they won't have water at their taps. And everyone says, we live in Scotland. I'm saying we have wildfires. We have, I mean, the council up here in Murray, which is kind of includes the Elgin area. It's kind of between Inverness and Aberdeen. They've been pumping water from one of the local rivers into their storage reservoirs because they don't have enough water for it. And it's one of those ones that we really need to start looking at it, but trying to get people to understand that is unbelievable. And people talk of hosepipe bans, and England have got good experience of hosepipe bans. And there was an education thing came up. What do you mean? What do we mean by hosepipe ban? And I thought, if you need an instruction video to tell you not to use a hose or an outside tap, then I don't know. And I mean, when I was younger, I was 24, I moved to Namibia, and we watered our garden with grey water. So any water which came from your wash hand basins, your kitchen sink, your washing machines, or your showers went straight out into the garden and watered the garden. It didn't go into the sewage system. So you weren't overloading the sewage system with this water. It was watering the garden. And because it's a desert, it was spreading that water around. And we need to start doing that more as a nation. And people say, oh, you can't do that on existing houses. No, but we are building so many new houses that we can do this. We could have a factored grey water recovery system. We can have a rainwater harvesting system, because your toilet can be flushed with the water from your washing machine. It can be flushed with the water from your shower if you treat it, and a grey water system will do that.
Yeah.
You can flush your toilet with the rainwater. You can use rainwater for your garden. Plenty of people have got water butts,
Of course,
whereby they've got their little water butt. The pipe comes off the roof, goes in there, and then it goes down the drain. You could do that on an industrial scale. Many buildings have it. I worked in the Archive Centre up in Wick in the far north of Scotland. All their rainwater goes through a catchment tank. That catchment tank then feeds every single toilet in the building, every single urinal as well. Because every time you flush a toilet, you're wasting 6 litres of water to get rid of, And you think about it, I often say, if I'm trying to educate people, I'll say to them, well, every time you flush your toilet, 6 litres of water, right? How many times do you go to the toilet a day? Say you go to the toilet 6 times. There's 6 sixes, right?
Yeah.
Say you're in a family of 4. That's where you suddenly realise you're wasting 144 litres of water per day. And I mean, my mother-in-law said to me the other day, "Oh, but where would you get water from?" And I said, "Well, how much water is in this? She's got a basin in her kitchen sink. She fills up the basin, she does the dishes, she pours that water away." I said, "See that water there? That's enough to flush your toilet once. How many times have you done that during the course of the day?"
Yeah.
"Well, 4 or 5. I said, "And then you wasted," well, you do, I say wasted, you used 40 litres of water having a shower this morning. That's another 6 or 7 flushes of the toilet.
It's a brilliant idea, Brilliant idea.
I mean, people talk about going green.
Yeah.
But they pick the easy things like let's fit a heat pump.
Yeah.
Let's put solar panels on the roof. Our biggest challenge is water, and it's the biggest challenge which will face this country in the coming decades.
Yeah.
But people do not look at it.
So that's something else for you to lobby for and to put out there. So how many? I mean, you're going to run out of things to put out there and
Not at all, not at all. And you can mix it up. You can say, today I'll discuss gas safety. Tomorrow I'll start discussing the water side of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, people say, "Oh, but you only got 2 likes on that post, and only 1 person commented once on some posts." And I say, "Yeah, but if you look at it, I got 25,000 views. 25,000 people are now thinking about that. And if you can get that, I don't expect everything to get it. But if, say, someone reposts that, that's clocked on someone's memory, and they thought, he's got a point there."
That's right. And the thing is, some people don't want to be liking it because they although in that industry, so they don't want to be linked to what you're saying, because people are going to see that they like it and then think, well, why is he liking that? Try not to get involved with it. You've got all your GDPR stuff, and I don't want to controversial subjects. I don't want to get involved with it all or see to be involved with it all. But Jimmy, I'm going to have to leave it there, mate. I feel like I could talk to you all day. I really do. So I think I'm going to have to get you on my podcast soon as well to have another chat about other stuff. But before we go, where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years then?
I'd like to see myself consulting more on the water issue, because I think it's one of those ones that I think is going to come up. Hopefully, and I wouldn't cross my fingers on this one. I would like to see a change in the gas law.
Yeah.
Realistically.
Yeah.
I would like to see every site in the UK have defibs on it. I know that won't happen, but I would seriously like to see some form of change within the gas industry. I'd like to see professional bodies step up and support their members, so that their members feel as though they are being listened to, and their opinions do matter. Because too often we see people in Parliament. I had a friend recently who was in Parliament for something with the Construction Leadership Council, and then the message has gone dead and they've heard nothing back from the Construction Leadership Council. I'd like to see professional bodies pushing the views of their members more in the direction which supports them, shall we say. But yeah, the water side of things, I think, and I would put money on it being a bigger issue, especially with what I first noticed that in 2022, and I would say I would like to see, this will affect more people, and I can see us hitting a kind of plateau soon, whereby action will need to be taken. So,
yeah,
advising more on that, advising councils on that. I mean, my local council complained recently that new houses weren't getting put up because there was a question over the water supply issue, and I said that is avoidable if you take the correct advice. And it's not that the correct advice isn't there, it's that they want the easy option of putting the mains into every house to supply everything when that doesn't need to happen. So yeah, that's where I'd like to see myself, but we'll see. I'll almost be 53 by that point, so we'll wait and see.
Well, if anyone wants to support you or chat with you about it, they also can reach you on LinkedIn. Is there anywhere else that they can contact you on?
I mean, if they get in contact with the Chartered Institute of Plumbing and Heating Engineers, they'll get my details from the Chartered Institute of Plumbing and Heating Engineers.
Yeah.
They will put you in contact. They will put anyone in contact with me. They obviously get in touch with me first and say, we've got X, Y, and Z. We'd like to get in contact. Can they? And I'll often say, yeah, just file the details over to me.
Yeah.
But yes, LinkedIn. I'm in there on LinkedIn as well. I'm pretty on the ball with my LinkedIn. I'll watch it quite often. I'll report on anything that comes up on LinkedIn. So yes, any of those two platforms are good. But I mean, I'm also in the Worshipful Company of Plumbers in London. We were established in 1365, so we've been on the go since 1365 in London.
Bloody hell, you're old, aren't you?
And I tell him that's why I'm going bald, mate. And we got the Royal Charter in 1611,
Right.
but we, as a livery company in London, if you want to get in touch with me through that, you can get in touch with the Worshipful Company of Plumbers, and again, they will forward your details on to me, and I will then make contact. So there are many ways to get in touch with me.
Cool.
I mean, if anyone drops me a message on LinkedIn, I will reply to it. Anyone drops me a connection request on LinkedIn, I will accept it as well. I will get the message out there any way I can.
Brilliant. You're a good man. Well, keep doing what you're doing, mate. I love it. Yeah, keep getting your voice out there, and I'll support you any way I can. Repost your stuff and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
Thanks so much for your time, mate. And like I say, be happy to have you on my podcast in the future to chat to you again about some other stuff.
Anytime at all. Okay, thanks very much for your time this morning. Okay.
Thanks, Jimmy. Take care, mate. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye.